Today marks a historic moment across the Muslim world as millions of worshippers gathered for Friday prayers, turning mosques and public squares into powerful stages of unity and solidarity with Gaza. From the crowded streets of Jakarta to the bustling avenues of Cairo, from the heart of Istanbul to the spiritual center of Mecca, Muslims poured out in unprecedented numbers to express their collective grief, anger, and determination over the suffering of the Palestinian people. The sheer size of today's rallies has been described by observers as one of the largest religious and political mobilizations in recent history, underscoring the central place of Gaza in the Muslim conscience. In nearly every major capital of the Muslim world, Friday sermons were infused with messages of resistance, resilience, and responsibility. Religious leaders condemned the ongoing bloodshed, describing it as a humanitarian catastrophe that has gone beyond politics and entered the realm of collective moral duty. Across the sermons, a common refrain was heard: that silence in the face of Gaza's plight is no longer acceptable, and that every believer must raise their voice. Imams spoke not only about the daily struggles of Gazans under blockade and bombardment, but also about the historical significance of standing with the oppressed. Worshippers listened intently, many moved to tears, before spilling out of mosques to join massive rallies that filled streets and squares with chants of solidarity. In Cairo, where political gatherings are often heavily restricted, authorities allowed larger-than-usual congregations, and images of worshippers flooding Tahrir Square quickly spread across social media. Many carried Palestinian flags, some painted their faces with red, green, black, and white, and others lifted signs calling for an immediate end to the bombardment and for urgent humanitarian access. Similar scenes were recorded in Amman, where Jordanian demonstrators marched from Al-Husseini Mosque, calling Gaza's struggle a test of humanity. In Lebanon, both in Beirut and in the southern towns, the rallies were deeply emotional, with participants voicing anger over the high civilian death toll and chanting for Arab governments to take stronger actions. The impact extended far beyond the Middle East. In Pakistan, tens of thousands filled mosques and then gathered outside in sprawling marches that stretched across entire districts. In Indonesia, the world's largest Muslim-majority nation, mosques overflowed with worshippers, and central Jakarta witnessed a sea of flags and banners as participants declared that Gaza's wounds were their wounds. Malaysia saw similar mobilizations, with Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim making a rare direct appearance at a rally, urging global powers to act decisively and saying that history would not forgive those who stayed silent. In Turkey, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan addressed a massive crowd after prayers, calling the day a historic demonstration of unity and warning that the ongoing war in Gaza was testing the conscience of the entire world. Analysts say that today's unified mobilization is not only a religious expression but also a political one. The timing on a Friday, the holiest day of the week for Muslims, magnified its significance. The unprecedented turnout highlights how Gaza has transcended borders and become a rallying point for Muslims of diverse political and cultural backgrounds. While in some places the rallies were peaceful expressions of grief and prayer, in others they quickly turned into political demonstrations. In parts of Iraq and Iran, demonstrators burned flags of Israel and the United States, while in Yemen, chants against foreign intervention rang loudly. In North Africa, particularly in Morocco and Tunisia, civil society organizations led mass processions that merged religious devotion with political demands for government action. The scale of today's gatherings has not gone unnoticed by global observers. Media outlets around the world are reporting that the millions who participated have made a strong statement that resonates beyond the Muslim world. For many participants, today was not just about prayer, but about turning prayer into action. Calls for boycotts of companies seen as complicit, demands for international tribunals to investigate alleged war crimes, and renewed appeals for ceasefires echoed throughout the gatherings. Social media platforms were flooded with images and videos of massive crowds, with hashtags related to Gaza and Friday prayers trending globally. In many posts, Muslims describe today as a day of dignity, a day of unity, and a day history will remember. Human rights organizations also weighed in, with several issuing statements noting that the scale of today's mobilizations demonstrates a widening gap between ordinary people and the political establishments of their countries. While many governments in the Muslim world maintain diplomatic or economic relations with Israel or its allies, today's rallies made it clear that public opinion is overwhelmingly aligned with Gaza's cause. This disconnect is likely to fuel further debates and pressures within these societies as citizens demand stronger action from their leaders. At the same time, international reactions have been cautious. Western governments have largely remained silent about today's events. But diplomats privately acknowledge that such a massive show of solidarity cannot be ignored. The United Nations is expected to face increased calls to push harder for humanitarian corridors, ceasefires, and accountability measures in Gaza. Some analysts suggest that today's displays may mark the beginning of a new wave of global mobilizations, especially as large demonstrations are already being planned in European cities with significant Muslim populations. Early reports from London, Paris, and Berlin suggest that solidarity marches are already underway, linking the Muslim world's mobilization with broader international pressure. Beyond politics, today's Friday prayers also had a deeply human dimension. Families came together, children held small Palestinian flags, and elderly participants spoke about how they had never seen such unity in decades. In some places, moments of silence were observed for those who lost their lives in Gaza, while in others, prayers were offered specifically for the safety of children, the wounded, and those trapped under rubble. The collective emotion, whether in tears or chants, created a shared sense of purpose. It was not only about Gaza's present suffering, but about the broader values of justice, compassion, and solidarity that millions of Muslims say are integral to their faith. As the day comes to a close, the images remain striking. Seas of people bowing their heads in prayer, then raising their voices in protest. Today has shown that Gaza's pain has become a unifying thread across the Muslim world, binding together nations, cultures, and communities under a single banner of solidarity. Whether governments respond or not, the people have already spoken. Their voices, amplified by millions, have echoed across mosques, streets, and borders. And their message is clear. Gaza is not alone.